I've been drawing for the past 2 years to 3 years now, and hip has always been the worst part in terms of my character drawings. I've learned so many ways of drawing hips. Some people tell me that you could draw, heart shape, circle shape, circle like this, heart like that. Some people say just use a box or just one more. Oh, like this, like a rod shape with like this kind of shape. Eh, But none of them works until I actually reflected on my shitty drawings and then finally decided to learn about pelvis anatomy. Now I think the best way to draw pelvis is somewhat like a box shape. But then it's really important to know what's underneath it, what's actually the pelvis bones, so that drawing the box form will make more sense in terms of the perspectives. So we'll talk about the pelvis bone, the abdominal muscles plus fat, the back muscles and the glutes, and then going on to the more of the actual applications of it, the size difference, the angles, rotations, and proportions of the hip. So starting from the front view. Front view, let's look at the actual hip bone. Hip, not hip. Yeah, pelvis bone, sorry. Pelvis bone it's a really weird shape to conclude. So that's why there's so many variations. And it looks like butterfly-ish. You will see like a large thingy over here, large wing. And then from the back, it looks irregular as well. So that's why it's really hard to conclude the shape into a uniform way of drawing pelvis. Uh, Looking at it, the front view, it looks like like maybe like this, and then like this, and then like this, like a butterfly, butterfly, like that. And then there's the pubic symphysis. That's a pubic symphysis. I think I spelled it wrong, but it's okay. There's like this thing here. This is where you connect your femur bone. So the thigh bone, like that. There's this connections. I think that's the acetabulum. Yeah, like that. In terms of the back view, sorry, so this is the lumbar spine. So the hip spine, this is the sacrum bone. So it looks like this. And there's a tailbone at the bottom. The It looks like this, maybe like that. And then this part goes forward to the front, this part, and then this part also goes to the front, like that, and then like that, like that. And you'll see your leg bone going down. In terms of the side view, I think side view is the worst part to draw for pelvis because it just doesn't make sense at all. What is this? Like, what is this thing? So I think the best way to do it, so that's the front, that's the back. Then I think the easiest way I just this, literally I just do this and then that's where you connect your leg down and then there's like a tiny square at the bottom. That's how I draw the hip, like that. Yeah, and then that's where your this thing is. Okay, so that's the pelvis bone shape. The main point to remember for pelvis is that this part, this part of it, this part, and this part, it's like a plane for muscle attachments. So this area, sorry, this area, this area is where you connect your muscles, the abdominal muscles. And this area, this part is also connections for abdominal muscle as well. Okay? So starting from the front view of the muscle, we will talk about these main muscles. In terms of the chest and the back, I'll make another videos, but then I'll just briefly touch on the muscle on the chest so that it makes a bit more sense, since we're just gonna go back and forth on all the topics all the time. So starting from it, this is the rib cage. This is the rib cage. We all know the rib cage. That's the sternum. That's the clavicle. The thing at the back is the scapula, and that's the pelvis bone. That's the sacrum bone, and that's the femur. God. It's like anatomy. It reminds me of when I was in medical school, like first year and second year, those kind of anatomy lectures. There are a lot of muscles in abdomen. If we look at over here, this is a male model. You could see that there's the inner side, this is like psoas major muscles. It doesn't really give much to the actual shape when drawing, so I'll just skip them. There's like internal oblique muscles, transverse abdominis. But then the two layers that we're going to talk about is this, starting from here. This is the external oblique muscles. So it goes from the back-ish, like a back-ish area, all the way to the front, to the almost towards the like the sternum area. So it will look like this, like that. It's roughly here, and then goes back. It connects to this area of the pelvis, and then goes down all the way down. Yep. So that's the external oblique. We have a serratus anterior muscles, which is hidden right here. It comes from the scapula, and then goes all the way to the front, connects with the external oblique muscles. Serratus anterior muscle. It's a muscle that I'm also working on right now. I don't have it yet, but this thingy, this beautiful muscles that shapes the abdomen really well. That muscle, that's the serratus anterior, goes from here. Sorry, I will stop zooming in all the time. Goes here, 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 here. And then the external oblique muscle will connect with it. And that all the way to the front. Okay? So that's serratus anterior. That's the external oblique. Then above it, we have the rectus abdominis. So rectus abdominis is this muscle over here, this thingy, where if we add another layer to it, this muscle over here, it sort of connects to the sternum. So sternum over here, starting from sternum, all the way down to almost like pubic symphysis over here, roughly here. The thing about it is that it has a thickness to it. So you will see some different people have different shapes. Mine is hidden behind the fat that I'm currently still poking on. So umbilicus is usually between the third part of the rectus abdominis, but it depends. It really depends. Then pec major. Pec major is the muscle that we have that connects to the what's this called? Humerus. So it sort of connects here, 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 and then all the way to here. So like that. The top part goes bottom, the lower part goes above. Like that. So like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. And then obviously we have our deltoid muscles, which is over here. Okay. So in terms of drawing the outline of it, let me try to make this. So in terms of drawing the outline of it, let me use this pen. You will see this serratus anterior, the external oblique muscles coming down, the rectus abdominis, and then that's the external oblique. Okay, that's the transverse, the pec major muscles. Here we go. That's that. In terms of the fat positions, so fat positions of the front view is that you could see the fat depositing over here. Yeah, so that's where people always say the handles, the fat that always get used up at the end of cutting phase, because this part is really stubborn. And then obviously if you eat a lot, calorie deficit, calorie surplus, you will see fat depositing here or here in general, the big whole things. And that's where you often see, especially when you see people drinking a lot, then the fat sort of positions roughly like this. And then fat could position over here too. Here too. Especially for women, there's a breast tissue over here as well. So the main thing of the abdomen and the fat position is the handle. The handle is the thing that I'll talk about later. In terms of the back view, let me, it's not you guys. Yep. In terms of the back view, so the back, we'll talk about the three main muscles and the fat positions as well. So starting from the model over here. If I disconnect one layer below, that's where all the inner muscles are, the internal oblique muscles. We add one layer to it, you will see that's the lat muscle, the handle over here, which mine is really tiny. And you will see this. This is the external oblique muscle that I was talking about just now. So from the back view, we will add this. That's the external oblique. You will see a little bit of it. Then you add the lat muscle. Remember, lat muscle, the connection of it is that it connects to the front of the humerus. So it goes over, like that. Like that. It goes over to the front of the humerus. Like that. It goes to the front. Like that. But you will still see a little bit of external oblique over here, but that's the lat muscle. Coming on that muscle, there's a thing called trapezium. Trapezium is the shoulder muscle. So it starts from roughly here. Let me add another color. It goes here to in terms of the back connections, it connects onto the top of the scapula. It comes down, connects to here, come back, down, to roughly in the midpoint. It has the muscle fibers has like a triangle or not rhomboid shape. It's where the muscle fibers goes this way, this way. So that will be the final muscle. This muscle over here, that's the trapezium. In terms of its connections to, it connects to the front, also connects to the front of a little bit on the clavicle, but I'll talk a bit more during the neck sections. If we look at the back muscle, muscular man, you will see this thingy. This big thing is the trapezium muscles. Okay? And then obviously we have the deltoid muscles here, and then some teeny tiny muscles within it, like teres major, teres minor, infraspinatus, all kind of muscles hidden over there. We have again, we have the, what's it called? Tricep muscles on top of the lat muscles, like that, like that. So that's the general back view of it. In terms of the fat position, fat. So fat-wise, obviously we could see the handles of the external oblique. But then in female, we would also sometimes see this kind of fat positions as well. Like that. Like that. And then adding on to it, sorry, I should have talked about the glutes first. Glutes. Coming back to the glute, sorry, I'll come back to the fat later. Glute muscle. So you could see that this is the what's it called? The pelvis bone, right? Glute muscle. Glute muscle is the bum muscle over here. It's a big thing here. And you can see that it goes from the back to the lateral side, so the side of the thigh. Okay. So it goes from the back to the side. Like that. Then you will sometimes see this kind of shape, like a butterfly shape. Another butterfly here. Like that. So glute muscle, male. Here, like this, almost like a butterfly-ish kind of shape. And you can see that it's below the connections of a lat muscle, external oblique muscles. It's right below it. The fat positions, sorry, again, so the fat positions can look like this. And then in terms of the fat in the glute, it could also add on like this area. So, and then your leg looks like that. Like that. Like that. Like that. So that's why sometimes if you want to draw more curvy kind of women, then you could add, for example, let me think, like that. Maybe like that, maybe. Mm, mm, this. Sorry, I might need what's it called? Reference. I probably need reference, but what I'm trying to illustrate is that this shape, over here. It gives the women's hip a bit more curvy kind of shape, like that. Compared to men is more like that. 1, 2, 3, like that. Less curvy. Women having curvier kind of outlines makes them look more attractive. In my own opinion, okay? In my own opinion, in terms of adding fat to it. All right. Okay, so that's the overall muscles and pelvis bone. In terms of the applications of it, let me start up. So size difference and rotation, proportions, angles. Size difference wise, women generally have, I think a lot of people talked about it already. Women generally has bigger hip and then more thinner, less deep kind of pelvic shape. You will see this kind of shape. In terms of my own understanding is that generally I would say the shoulder, the connection of the clavicle to acromion position is generally less wide compared to the pelvis. That's just a general view. Compared to men, the man is more of opposite triangle with less wide hip. So in terms of the clavicle positions, it's already outside, wider than the hip. So that makes them look, bigger, like the overall opposite triangle. That's what I meant by size difference. The angle of them is that when you look at the female side view like that, like that, like that, 1, 2, 1, 2, like that. The female, I usually draw this way. This way. This is like it's anteriorly tilted. Compared to man, it's more upright. So man, 2 seconds, like that. This is just a very teeny tiny move. Women are generally more forward, anteriorly tilted, and man is more straightforward. Just like that. That's done. In terms of proportion wise, from my current understanding is that starting from this, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like that. So that's x, that's half of x. The application of this is that this line, this thingy is the pubic symphysis. Like that. And then you will see this roughly to the half. So that's where the handles is. That's where this part is. This part is. Yes. So, let me think. How should I say it? Roughly like this. So you will see this to this is equal to this to the lower part of the pelvis, and then the leg connection is starting from here. This depth is roughly half of it. Generally like that. But this part is half, this part is half. That's the proportion from my own understandings. It seems that it makes sense when I'm drawing it. It's just something that to keep in back of your mind. In terms of rotation wise, rotation is the time where you really need to understand the pelvis anatomy. So let's say this, like that. This is let's say this is like 20, what is this, third quarter angle. So it's slightly tilted, like 22.5 degree tilted. And then if you want your hip to look dead straight, one, two, three, half, something like that. Right? Then you start to draw out the structure of it, like that, like that, like that, right? Then you connect the part. So this part is being compressed. It goes out. There's the rectus abdominis going here. This part goes to here, so it goes this way. This part goes that way, and then that. So in terms of rotations of the upper body, it's more of two box, two box trying to rotate in different areas, and then X, 2, 3. And then if you want it to go this way, you go this way. And then this part connects to this part. This part connects to this part. Then this part connects to that part. That's it. That's it. It will probably need the real life examples, but generally that's the four main things to understand in terms of the hip. Let's do some practice. So I will need to be very careful for this because there might be nude characters, the characters not wearing anything, and but then that's probably the best reference for learning kind of hip anatomy. I don't know. Maybe I'll have to censor some of them. Hopefully not, because that adds a lot of a lot of job to editing. Eh, no, that'll be a good one. So starting from this, we're just mainly focusing on the hip, okay? So one, two, one, two, two, three, one, two, three. In terms of no, that in terms of the connections of the hip to the thigh, I'll talk more on it during the what's it called? The thigh video because there'll be too much. There's a lot of connections between them. But then over here, in 2 seconds, let me cancel this out. So that'll be this. That's the hip. The hip is roughly like this. The pelvis like that. Roughly like that. So the arms is going here. The rectus abdominis is coming down here. You will see that's the external oblique. This part is slightly being compressed, so there'll be a bit of compressions over here, and then you will see the muscles. That's the glute muscles coming to the front. Those are thigh muscles. That's the pelvis. That's the pubic symphysis. Something like that. Something like that, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. Next one. Give me some rotations. Oh, nice. So that's where we could see a bit more on the fat positions. So one, two, one, two. Mm. Yeah. So in terms of the body, we start from the inside. Obviously, when you learn it, you probably don't need this kind of hassles all the time. Yeah. And all right. And then you'll see the pelvis is roughly here. So the handles is here. Pubic symphysis, that's where this is. The leg muscle, the leg femur bone is coming out. Then you will see the rectus abdominis hidden in her fat. This part should be like that. The external oblique muscles will be the lat muscles coming out, and then transverse serratus anterior kind of picture. But then because of her fat, so we're gonna add the fat into it. So adding the fat into it like that. This will have some fat too. And that fat. And then this part will be the rectus abdominis fat. Here we go. And then that's where all the other pelvis regions are. Like that. Okay, so in terms of the actual structure to it, chest is like this, like that, like that, and then her arms coming out, and then her arms. That's her lat. That's the what's it called? The handle of the external oblique. Then that's where her umbilicus might be, where a bit more, and then that's the pelvis. That's that. Make sense? Next one. Next one. So, do you have a, oh, yes. Okay, nice. This is the one that we need. So this will illustrate pretty well. So she is holding her arm like that. So I sort of murmur a lot when I'm drawing. And in terms of the drawing of the torso, after drawing so many of them, the way I do it is concluded into 1, 2, 3 technique. I'll talk a bit more during there's overall kind of human sections at the end of this kind of tutorial videos, but just a bit details. So 1, 2, 3. This kind of forced myself to not, be very focused on those kind of like nitty-gritties of, oh, this line is there. You just conclude the whole torso and hip to 3 lines, then you add the hip to it. And if you want to add the, what's it called? The details, then you add on the details. It's quite a good method from my own personal experience. Like that, like that, and then like that, and that, and that. Sorry, I wasn't focusing. This is not very good. Like that, like that, like that, like that, like that. This leg should be playing back a little bit more, but it's okay. I mean, uh, all right, and then this will come back like that. This will come back like that. But the main thing is about the back. So starting from the back muscles, you can tell she has her trapezium muscles coming out over here to here. That's her deltoid muscle. That's her lat muscle coming out. That's her external oblique coming in. And then if you want, you could also add a bit of fat to it over here, making her hip bigger, wider. Then you could see her glute muscles coming out over here, coming out over here, and then because women's hip are wider, so you would see a bit of empty space over here, empty space compared to male, it will probably be more of like that. That'll be more like male. Female will be more something like this, something like that. It'll be a bit because their hip is wider. Okay. All right. Next one, the 1, 2, 3 technique and the back muscles. Next one. Oh, we don't need that. Uh, this one. No, I want. mm, 2 seconds. No, I need quick pause. 2 seconds. And let me get quick pause. Quick pause has more uh better ones that we could do. 2 seconds. Let me see. Here we go. This lady is less muscular but more curvy. So you could tell that mm, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. So this 1, 2, 3. So you could tell there's this kind of fat positions ish, especially over here. This line, this 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 line over here, like that, and then like that. You can see that this is a bit bigger, slightly bigger. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Like that, like that, like that. And then you will have a bit of empty space over here. A little bit, not too much. Yeah. Something like this. So when it comes to drawing the back with a more curvier kind of pictures, could do this here. So you shrink in and then you shrink, you make it bigger. 2, 3. And then you add in this. And then like that. And that's the hip muscle, right? The glute muscle, sorry, glute muscles, a bit of fat below, and then yeah, like that, something like that. You could do this, and then and that. That'll be the back muscle, a bit curvier. That's the scapula. That's also the scapula as well. Trapezium, deltoid, and then the upper arm muscles like tricep, forearm muscles, and hands. There we go. Next one. No, I don't think so though. I probably have to censor this one. But you can see the handle part of it is really prominent over here. So like that. One. Uh, one, 1, 2, 3, and 2, 3, and then the hip. hip anatomy perspective is roughly like this. Three, so that, and then that, and then like that. And that's the pelvis region. In terms of the anatomy, 2 seconds. Da, 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 da. So, in terms of the anatomy, anatomy. So, anatomy part, the rib cage is roughly here. That's the lats muscle. That's the pec major. That's the deltoid muscles. Then going on, our hip muscle looks like this. That's the spine. And then we have this kind of shape, and then this area coming out, this area going down, something like that. That's our external genitalia. Then, in terms of the muscles, so muscles, lat muscle going back, that's where our external oblique muscle is coming out. But then you can see the handles roughly here. There's a bit of handle of the fat. Oh, it's actually going that way, man. Sorry, I didn't pay attention to this like that. Okay. Then, yeah, and then that, a bit of, that's the external, that's the rectus abdominis muscles. I mean, that's the external oblique muscles. And then below this, we have the hip muscles coming out, coming to the front, and then the other part is the what's it called? The other part is what's it called? The thigh muscles. Sorry, the thigh muscles. Here we go. And that's the pec major muscles going out like that. Yep. So that's the thing. Next one, this is not really helpful. This one, same as well. So this one, uh, again, this, 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 and then one, one, two, three. And then it's generally looking forward, so it doesn't really matter that much. There we go, and then like that. So if we look at the rib cage is roughly like that, facing forwards. Our pelvis is roughly here in the middle, so roughly here, here, where the handle is. The leg is going here. The other leg has a shape, something like this, coming out and then down like that. And the other leg is like that. So the rectus abdominis is coming down like this. This part is being compressed, so we might see a bit of fat combined together. This part is stretched, so it'll be more straightforward. And then we will see the pec major. That's the lat muscles over here. That's our bicep. And then like that, like that. And a bit of tricep at the back. Something like that. Something like this, okay? Doesn't really like that. Something like this. And then you can draw the bed. Something like that. Something like that. Hope that makes sense. Here we go. Like that. Okay, next one. Do you have? Oh, nice. So this is the one that we could see the curviness of female. So female curviness. Let me use this size. So like that. Sort of goes upward. One, one, 1, 2, 3. And then this one, 1, 2, 3. Almost like this, roughly. Like that, and then like that. Something like this. The pelvis, that's the rib cage. That's the pelvis regions, roughly like that. The hip, the pelvis. No, I mean the leg, sorry. The leg. And that's something like that. And then, like that. Play. In terms of the hip kind of placements, so we know her pec major is roughly like this. We have her breast tissue roughly like here. Her rib cage is coming down, and then because there's a bit of, well, you could draw this, but then if you want her to be slimmer, then you just go like this. And then you can add a bit of fat to the side of the glute. So like that. Then you go here, here, there's a bit of bony structures over here, come down. That's the pelvis regions. That's the rectus abdominis, something like this. That's these parts of the external abdominis. That's where the connections of the legs starts, and then you will see this kind of shape. Yeah, like that, something like that. Hopefully that makes sense. Oh, my neck. Next one, next one. You need this. Let's find. Yes, nice. That's what we need. So this will be the last one. This is like this. And one, two, one, two, 1, 2, 3. Like that. You will see this kind of fat position-ish will kind of coming in, out, and then you could make this overlay the lat muscles and the fat, fat, lat from here to make it more curvy. And then like that. And that's the glute. The glute muscles coming down like that, going forward, and then coming back out. Uh, like that. Is that okay? Maybe a bit larger. Could be a bit larger. Slightly. Yeah, something like that. That'll make a bit more sense. And then like that. There you go. So that's what I meant by the hip fat positioned. The fat in the hip is where you see this lat. That's the trapezium, right? You will see the lat coming down, coming out, but then you will see the pelvis regions bone, the cosa, the sacrum bone, the pelvis, and then the glute coming out, but then you can add a bit of fat over here, so it makes it more round. You can add a bit of fat here too, like that. Then over here, you can add a bit of fat as well, a little bit, so that it makes it more curvier. And then in terms of the beauty of this is that you add fat here, you stop a little bit because that's where the hip bone is, and then you add another fat layer. So there's a bit of bony sections over here, right here, bony place. If you see there's a little bit of change in directions. That's where this is the other kind of sacroiliac joint over here. And that's the leg. And then the legs can be da 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 da, and then da 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 da. Is that okay? Hopefully that makes sense. If there's any questions or things that I missed, feel free to comment below. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.